Everyone is discussing a young lady by the name of Treasure. She came on the Dr. Phil show. Now, she was stating to everybody's shock that she is a Caucasian person. And she's just about dark as me, but yet she's stating she's a Caucasian person. I want you to hear what she has to say about herself in the audio clips that we're going to play. And also, I want you to hear what the mother says about the relationship with the child and the white stepfather, when she was led to believe that the white stepfather was actually her biological father. But we're going to talk about everything that's wrong with this picture. Let's roll the clip.
I know a lot of people take issue with my beliefs. I'm white. I'm a Caucasian because everything about me is different from an African American. I have naturally straight hair. My hair isn't nappy. It doesn't require weave. My nose is not giant as like African Americans. My lips are perfect. They're not too big and they're not too small. Like, they're just perfect. My ears, I don't have black people ears because they're really giant. Most African Americans speak ghetto. But when it comes to black people, I think they're all ugly and I have nothing in common with them. I'm different from African Americans because I'm white. My figure is just like Kim Kardashian, and she's a wonderful role model. I act and I think like a white person instead of a black person. I believe that I'm completely and utterly better than them. Like, we're on two different levels. Like, okay, African Americans are here, I'm here. White people act and think just way more mature than African Americans. Black people, they think in a criminal way. When I think about African Americans, I feel like asking them, what is wrong with them? They're really dangerous. If an African American is on the same street as I am, I'll cross the street to avoid their chaotic, thuggish ways.
Are you okay?
I'm irritated.
I'm sorry.
I just know that I'm white. I mean, she might not know that I'm white, but I know that I'm white. I can feel it through my veins, I feel it through my blood. I tell my mom I'll never be like any of those Negroes. My mom tries to criticize me about my supposed race. I tell her she's just ignorant. There's nothing wrong with my views or beliefs because I have freedom of speech and everything I'm saying is true.
Your husband passed away?
Yes.
And when was this?
In '06.
I'm very sorry for your loss, by the way. I know it's been a while, but it never gets easier,
No.
I know. And he was Caucasian,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And you allowed your children to believe that he was their biological father.
Yes, I did.
Why?
Because he was the only father figure that I had for my children.
When he passed, you decided to tell them the truth.
Yes. I wanted them to understand that they were African American, in fact, as opposed to thinking they were mixed race children.
Right.
And it wouldn't hurt anybody because my husband was no longer alive. So.
And they were in shock, right?
Yes, particularly Treasure. She took the information so hard.
You think that's a triggering event
Yes,
here?
yes.
She has full belief that she has a Caucasian father.
Right.
And so she associates that with a certain lifestyle and home and family. She loses him, and through financial necessities, you have to make changes as a single mother.
Right.
And you wind up in a different neighborhood, a different socioeconomic set of challenges, as many single mothers do.
Yes.
That she's blaming that change on this neighborhood, on the people that she's now associating with, and equates that with the change.
Culture shock. Like I said, she did believe that she was mixed, and she wasn't putting black people down when she was really little. Like I said, until she got to be about 5, and then she wouldn't play with black children. She would be insulting and say they were dirty, and she would only play with white kids.
Okay. And let me be very clear here. Very, very, very clear here. You're absolutely appalled at what she's saying and doing.
Devastated.
So this is something, you're not here to defend her, you're not here to justify her, you're here to get her some help and try to get some clarity about this.
Oh, yes.
I want to help her and get this straightened out.
That's why we're here.
And you believe that this is some kind of mental disorder, mental distortion that she's going through?
I feel that she has body dysmorphia. I feel that she thinks that she is a white person.
Mm-hmm.
With her being black and hating black people, it's devastating.
Yeah. Has she ever been to a KKK event?
No, but I'm sure it's her dream. She'd like a Make America Great hat if you guys could get her one. I'm sure she'd be thrilled.
Now, everyone is upset and appalled by a clearly African American girl stating that she's white. And there are many more clips of this that came out, but we wanted to hone in on what's important for this commentary. As the details came out, if you listen to this very closely, the mom got with the white husband a while back when she was very young. Now, she decided to lie to her child. She decided to lie to say that a white man is your biological father. Now, the first one who I would say should have spoken up against that was the white stepfather. The right thing for him to say was, hey, wait a minute, hold on. You cannot say your child is clearly African American and I'm her biological father and I'm white. That wouldn't even be right. No matter what's going on with her father, I could never replace him. I could be a great dad to her. I can be a great stepdad. I can be a great friend. I can do all that with her, but I cannot replace him, number one. And also, just to tell her that she's white and lead her to believe that she is white based upon me is totally wrong. If this man was for the right thing, he would have said that to her, and then that would probably change the course of what happened. But he did not do that. Because you see, during all this commentary that we heard, we didn't hear anything about him. Because see, Dr. Phil really don't press the right questions. She's coming up here acting like, oh, I don't know what's wrong with my kid. But no, you know exactly what's wrong with that child. So he went along with the lie too. But I still throw more of it on the mother. He decided to deceive her child. Clearly doing this, which is utterly wrong. When the child was 5 years old, she did not want to start playing with the black children. She wanted to be with the white children and start making all these derogatory words about black children. At that time period, the first thing you would ask, why would a child 5 years old start saying things like that? Where would she get that from? At 5 years old, children don't know anything about race. They really don't. So who was teaching her about race at that age? Why was she so impressed about the racialization of people that she wanted to separate herself from black people and be with white people? Why is it that the mother didn't say anything about this and say that is wrong what you're doing? Why the stepfather didn't say anything that is wrong what she was doing? So now one of them had a problem with her doing this. You know why this girl's the way she is? Let's call it what it is. That man she was married to was a white supremacist. Because this girl not only wants to identify with white, she wants to identify with the worst of white, a white supremacist. She's regurgitating that white supremacist terrorist ideology, and she get that from that man. Because no one is saying to her, say, come on, we know that white supremacy is a learned behavior. We know hatred is a learned behavior. Where does she get all this animosity and hatred from? Now, some people are going to say, well, how is it that he could be a white supremacist and marry a black woman? Trust me, there are many people that say, oh, well, you're different. You're not like the rest of them. And they will say that to justify being with them. It happens all the time, all over the place. So she allowed this to happen. And you know that this man was this way because this child says she's white. She was never checked. She has the worst ideology, which is white supremacy. And now you have this girl who is going to get herself in a world of trouble. And if something happens to this girl, it's her mother's fault. I feel sorry for this girl because she did not make herself that way. It is her mother's fault for lying to her and deceiving her purposely. And then after the man died, you want to come around and say, oh, well, let me tell you the truth. You're African American. Your dad is African American. Of course, like I said, you had this child living a lie since she was 5 years old, all the way up until that time period you told her the truth. And then it really messed with her world. She's been infused with white supremacy from that man because we know exactly where it comes from. We know that. That stuff is learned in the home. It's not learned through the television. She started that mess at 5. She heard this man making disparaging remarks about black people. Let's call that what it is. She was making remarks constantly. She didn't check it. She knew her daughter was doing the things, trying to separate herself from black people. She did not check that. Now she want to come up like it's a problem with my daughter and oh, I feel sorry for her. No, this is the monster that you created, ma'am. because you chose to do this because you wanted to lie. So the question is, did you hate black people all those years and all of a sudden you woke up to see that, wait a minute, that was wrong? Because I believe that too, because if for you to be married to a man that would allow all this to happen, and obviously he was speaking some sort of white supremacist ideology, you said nothing about it, you was all in it too. So I don't feel sorry for this woman, I feel sorry for that child. That child has been victimized by her mother and been victimized by that so-called stepfather. And the father wasn't around, I'm talking about her black father, and that also plays a role too. Men, we have to be in our children's lives. You can't just walk away from your children. I don't care if the woman puts you through hell and high water, there's laws for that. Fight for your children. Don't let your child be just put in a home with a man you do not know, don't know what he's going to do. You have to be involved in your children's life. Because if that father was involved in his child's life, she would not be talking right now that she is a white person and hate black people, calling black people ugly, calling black people speaking ghetto and thugs and hood rats, all things that she was saying about black people. And then you look in the mirror like, female, come on, you're not even light skinned to even try to halfway say I'm racially ambiguous. You are just as dark as me. You have African features just as much as I have them. And you acting like the teenage version of Bunny Ruckus. That's what she acting like right now. But she was created to be that way. Talking about she wanted to go to a Klan rally. Maybe they should take her to a Klan rally and let's see how she would fit in. I don't think they'll want her over there too much. She is dangerous. She's actually worse than some of the things that Jesse Lee Peterson was telling me at Politicon. Because she really believes that about herself. She really believes that she is white. That is a sin and a shame what her mother did to this child. It's nobody that's making videos should let that mother off of the hook for the abuse, for the lies and deceit that she done to her precious little child. She created that child to be that way. And if something happened to her, this child get hurt, or anything else that could be happened to her that's worse by running off at her mouth, it's her mother's fault. That's how I look at it at the end of the day. This is the most crazy story I've ever seen in my life. This is what we doing these days. You're going to tell your child they're a totally different race, and you're going to let it go on for years upon years. And the son, I would say he wasn't, that deep entrenched with the guy. Because when the son came on the panel, he was against his sister, the things he was saying, because he was lied to as well. Both of them were lied to. But the son, I guess, maybe wasn't that close to the white stepfather, who was led to believe that that's the actual father. That is totally wrong. And this woman, just trying to act like she don't know what to do, she a victim, I couldn't stand to see her. Because this is the monster that she created. She created this monster, and she needs to be held accountable for her actions with her child, before the people and before God himself. You don't lie to your child about their parents. You don't do that. I don't care if you don't like them. I don't care if they're the sorriest person in the world. You don't lie. You tell them the truth and let that child make a decision about their parent. You don't do that, especially in that manner. Don't lie about a person's identity. That's completely wrong. How you go all those years as a black woman and let your child say that she's white and play with white children and hate black people when she is dark-skinned African all day long. I don't know who this woman's family is or whoever, but if people know her, y'all really need to pull her coattail on this one. Because that child, Treasure, like I said, she's ruined at this point. Well, leave me a comment, let me know what you think about this particular story. And if you knew Treasure and she came in your neighborhood talking like that, how long will she last in the black community having that kind of attitude?